All right, so turning this observation into a federal holiday came into focus just 2 years ago after the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, sparking this nationwide unrest. And it was those protests that also led to calls for the removal of Confederate symbols across this country. But the job is not as simple as it sounds. Devon Henry was the only contractor willing to put his career and his life on the line to topple Confederate monuments. Since June of 2020, his team has demolished 23 statues. Now the 45-year-old aiming to repurpose the history of these monuments to give back to the communities harmed by them. And Devon Henry is joining me now. Devon, thanks for joining us on this. We appreciate it. I got to say, I read the piece in the New York Times about the work that you've been doing. I think it's incredibly fascinating and courageous as well, especially considering the history that these Confederate statues have here in this country. You were willing to put your life on the line for this. Why is that?
Well, first, thank you for having me, Yasmin, and happy Juneteenth to you and all your viewers. The answer to the question that I get a lot and why would you do this? Living in Richmond, the former capital of the Confederacy, I've seen and heard for decades how those that have come before me have fought for years to try to get these symbols of oppression and these Confederate symbols taken down. And I knew at that time when I got the call that if I didn't do it, no one else was going to do it. So I stood up and took the chance and took the challenge.
You stood up and took the chance and took the challenge, but you talk about the threats that you and your team receive while you're in the midst of these takedown projects. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, you know, it's been a wild journey and the threats are still, believe it or not, they're still coming. You know, we receive voicemails, we receive things in the mail. Folks will come by some of the projects that we were working on. You know, and the visceral that these folks that they throw at you over something that doesn't belong to them, and that's something that means to a subset of folks deep meaning of hatred. You would think that in 2022 that would not be the case, but it so much is the case. And in fact, not just death threats. When we were transporting some of the monuments on the highway, folks tried to run us off with the police escort in place.
Wow. Wow. And I got to say, the kicker to all of this is the fact that once you took down these monuments, you felt as if, okay, wait, no, my work is not done. And you turned them into an NFT collection. Why is that?
Well, exactly what you just said. My work is not done. The monuments came down, but the question is always what's next, right? And my job and my calling, I feel is, hey, I will be a part of history, but how do I leave a legacy that will continue to help those that look like me? So we created an entity called CryptoFederacy and playing on the Confederate flag. We created 13 NFTs that will align with the stars from the Confederate flag. And what each monument is going to do that represents these removals, we're going to tie those to a nonprofit organization that are boots on the ground now, that are aligned and working diligently, but need resources to continue to do the good work that they're doing in the communities. And we're striving to raise $1 million for each one of those organizations.
Devon Henry, thank you as always. Appreciate it and appreciate the work you're doing.